Birds in Row are a French hardcore punk band that I discovered recently, and I decided to check this album out, and I was pretty impressed, so I decided to record a review for it. We Already Lost the World is the second full-length album from this band. The first full-length came in like 2012. I did not hear that, but I'm very glad I checked out this album here because it is pretty damn fantastic. This is going to be like the most overlooked album of the year, like in terms of hardcore punk, post-hardcore, melodic hardcore, like that kind of field. This is certainly going to be overlooked, and it's a shame because this is probably going to go down as like a top 3 album of the year in that genre. This is essentially an album that's going to speak for itself. I don't really feel like what I'm going to say here is really indicative of what's on the album itself, because you like the genre post-hardcore, hardcore punk, then there's no reason why you won't like this album. It's a throttling 34-minute album, 9 tracks. Is the perfect length for what it's trying to do here. There's nothing on this album that feels out of place. Everything is completely in order on this album. The screaming vocals at times are absolutely melodic. It's pretty catchy for the most part, I would say. I would argue that this is an album that is completely accessible, and if you're a little bit on the fence with this kind of music, this is certainly an album that'll push you over that fence. A track like I Don't Dance goes through multiple transitions. There are math elements in this track that keep everything just pulsating and changing constantly, that makes you really interested in what's going on. 1538 is a fantastic track. This is probably the most melodic on the album. The singing here is pretty ear-grabbing for the most part. I think the screamed vocals aren't quite as brutal as they can be on this album, because when they hit hard, they fucking hit hard. And this track totally reminds me of a band like Big Ups, you know, a modern post-hardcore band that go for that 90s alternative rock hardcore sound that's a little bit slintish as well. And then the chanting vocals come in, and then it starts building up, and it's like, we are ready, lost away. It's a momentous moment on the album, and honestly I think they would have been able to pull it off if they did more tracks like this with the singing vocals, but the fact that they didn't doesn't bother me either, because everything else on this album just hits you right where it needs to hit you. But this track just really shows the versatility of the band. I mean, you know, the singer, when he sings, sounds pretty good, but even when he's screaming at the top of his lungs, he's firing at you in a way that you just can't keep up, but you just love it anyway. Yeah, honestly, it's one of my favourite albums of the year. Not much else to say here. I mean, I say it could be on par with Roland Tomasi's album. I guess the only difference is that album is absolutely gorgeous with the vocals. At times, this album doesn't have moments like that, but it doesn't need those transitional moments because everything here is just fantastic. I'm going to go quite high on this one. I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. Really, really great album. Please check this out if you haven't already. I know it's not really like a heavily talked about album, but I hope this review changes that in some kind of ways. You know, a lot of people might go check it out now. I do hope you do, because it's a great album. And yeah, going to be overlooked by the end of the year. I can guarantee it, because there's just not enough people on this. So yeah, please check this out if you're a post-hardcore, hardcore punk fan. Fantastic album. Subscribe to the channel if you like this review. If you haven't already subscribed, yeah.